Welcome back, college football fans and Hawkeye fans everywhere, to another episode of the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. This is my reaction and recap to Iowa's victory on Black Friday. Final score, Iowa 40, Nebraska 16. With the victory, Iowa improves to 8-4 overall, 6-3 in Big Ten Conference play, while Nebraska falls to 7-5 overall, 4-5 in Big Ten Conference play. And before I say anything else, I'd like to wish you and yours a very happy, belated Thanksgiving. I hope you all had a very safe and happy holiday and holiday weekend. With my opening comments about this game, with the victory, Iowa does retain the Heroes Trophy. And quite frankly, it might as well just take up permanent residence in Iowa City. And that's something that I'm going to kind of unpack and talk a little bit more about later this episode. So Iowa does retain the rivalry trophy, the Heroes Trophy. And another Black Friday, another Hawkeye victory. I definitely want to talk during this episode in a bit. Is this really a legitimate rivalry? Is this something that both sides should really go ahead and accept? Or should we just call this really what it has been now for a while? But before that, I do want to say, please like, share, comment. I always ask for, appreciate, and welcome your participation. So I want to hear from you, Hawkeye fans, Husker fans, all of you college football fans alike. Please go ahead, light up that comment section below, and like, share, rate, and subscribe. Anything that you're able and willing to do for the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog to help the channel grow, it is vastly appreciated. And hey, because this is an absolute pleasure for me to be with you on the weekly, sharing my love and passion for all things college football with you, my fellow college football brothers and sisters. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this game. And my apologies. I mean, I'm days behind with this episode, but, you know, having family in town over the weekend, we've had some bad weather here in the Show Me State of Missouri, and just life happens. So I'm just finally happy to be able to share this with you here on Monday evening. But it's something that I've been waiting. I've been patiently waiting to get this episode out there. So before I go ahead and unpack the question of, is this a rivalry game, I'm going to go ahead and do what I normally do. All right, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the stars of the game. And I always like to begin with the opponents. And please, Husker fans, I'm asking for your involvement. Please hit me up. I want to get your side of the story. I want to get your perspective on this game, the season, and really response to any of my hot takes, my opinions, or my questions, because I'm trying to get inside your heads, but I want you to help me. All right? So the stars of the game, starting with Nebraska, I mean, numero uno, you got to go with EJ. I mean, Emmett Johnson, just an absolute stud. He's been a beast for the last 2 years for Nebraska. I mean, this guy is a flat-out baller. I mean, he shows up and shows out all the time for Nebraska, regardless of what the situation is, how their season's going, what their supporting cast is around Emmett Johnson. This guy is just, he's a baller, and you know what you're going to get from him. I mean, Iowa knew exactly what they had to do to try to slow him down and contain him, but nobody can do that. I mean, the guy has been so consistent in what he has been able to achieve and how he's able to perform on the weekly for Nebraska. I mean, his numbers, just pop out. I mean, this is against a top 5 defense, was Iowa coming into this game. And Emmett Johnson, final numbers rushing, 29 carries for a eye-popping 217 yards. He did find the end zone one time. Now, yes, a big chunk of those 217 yards was on one carry, which went for 70 yards. He was tackled inside the 5-yard line, I believe, on that long carry, but still, I mean, averaged 7.5 yards per tote. I mean, that's getting it done. All right, and also he did have 2 receptions for 22 yards. I mean, he's going to have to ask himself a question. I mean, Emmett Johnson is draft eligible. Will he go ahead and jump ship and go to the NFL, which I don't think anybody could blame him for that, because we all know that the shelf life in the National Football League for running backs is very, very small and limited. But if he is going to stay in college, will he perhaps test the waters, enter that transfer portal, and maybe go to a program where he could get a little bit more publicity, to where he could get a little bit more coverage? Because all of us within the Big Ten, we know how good this guy is, all right? So that's my first star for Nebraska. I mean, the second star for Nebraska, I mean, I loved watching this game from a special teams perspective. And Nebraska's kicker, he was, 3 for 3 kicking field goals, was Kyle Coonan. Long was 35, hit his extra point as well. So 3 for 3 field goals, that's getting it done. You can't really blame it on special teams. Well, at least the kicking game, at least for Nebraska. And another star that, I mean, he was all over the field. I mean, Donovan Jones, 9 total tackles, 7 solo, 1 pass deflection. I mean, he was just filling up the charts. The stat sheet was Donovan Jones for the Husker defense. Other than that, there wasn't really anything that really stuck out to me as, hey, this person really exceeded expectation or really played outside of themselves. Now, Nebraska fans, if there is somebody that you noticed on Friday's game that really kind of played above and beyond what they normally do, please let me know below. Now, for Iowa, I've got to start off with, going back to special teams, I'm going to look at Caden Weegan, the guy who I believe should be a Heisman Trophy finalist. I get it. Maybe you're thinking I'm being a Homer Simpson, or I live in my glass house. Come on. But the guy does have 4 kick returns this season. Also, he has 2 rushing touchdowns and a receiving touchdown. Hands down the best kickoff returner in the entire nation. He didn't have a chance to return any punts on Black Friday, but he did have 2 kickoff returns for 71 yards, average of 35.5 yards per attempt with a long of 51. The guy is instant excitement and offense. Once again, one of the most dynamic players in all of college football, regardless of position. That's why I believe this guy deserves to be in NYC. Maybe not win the Heisman Trophy, but how well he executes and performs his task and his specific job. Nobody else even comes close, all right? So I still think I'm still starting that charge, that chant. Let's get Caden Weegan to New York. So great game again for Caden Weegan. Special teams, Drew Stevens, had an alright game. He was 1 for 1 kicking field goals, but I got to go to Reese Dakin, Iowa's new punter from down under. What a great game for Reese Dakin. 3 punts for 152 yards. That's just under a 51-yard average per kick with 2 inside the 20. It really comes down to how much that affects a game. And there's no program, maybe in the entire nation, that relies so much upon punting and kick returning and punt returning as Iowa does. And my third star, I have to give a big shout out to the Iowa defensive, the back 7, more specifically for Iowa. When you look at the stat sheet, these guys were all over the field on defense, limiting Nebraska to only 16 yards. Just for yourself, you've got Jacob Wallace, 3 tackles, along with Deshaun Lee, Jaden Harrell, Carson. They all had 3 tackles. Carson Shire had 5. Also did Zach Lutmer had 5 total tackles. So did Xavier Wampa. Jaden Montgomery had 7 tackles, and leading all of them was Rashad Godfrey Jr. with 9 tackles. I mean, their defensive back 7 was all over the field. I mean, wrapping up effectively, didn't really have any major busted plays other than that one long run that I mentioned by Emma Johnson early in the first quarter. But other than that, I mean, overall, really, really solid game for most everybody on the Hawkeye team. Mark Gronowski, these aren't eye-popping numbers at quarterback. He was 9 of 16 for 166 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. But also as far as on the rushing side of it, this is really where he helps. I mean, he did have 13 rushing attempts, 64 yards, and ran for 2 more touchdowns on the season. When his counterpart, TJ Lateef, who's making his second career start, his first ever start in Lincoln, 9 of 24 for 69 yards. I mean, really a rough day. But this cat was thrown into the fire. I mean, right into game mode when Dylan Raiola went down a few weeks back in that USC game. So I think things will definitely improve for TJ Lateef, but he definitely is going to need a little bit more time and a little bit more experience and opportunity to grow and to develop. But definitely on Friday, most of his passes were really sailing right, left, and high. But, he didn't really do anything to really hurt the Huskers, though, himself. But definitely those numbers have got to be a little bit better. All right. So I guess where do we go from here? Well, both of these teams are going to be going on the road. They're going to have a 13th game. They're both bowl eligible. We're going to find out come late Sunday night. I mean, this is a big-time, uber-important week. It's conference championship week. The final college football playoff rankings come out tomorrow night. And then we'll kind of see how they finally shake up for Selection Sunday later this week. I've got a couple episodes lined up for you. So please, once again, comment below, like, share, subscribe, rate, tell all your family members, your colleagues, coworkers, fellow college football fans to check me out here in the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. So we'll have to wait and see where both of these teams go. But I need to once again rehatch this. And I've talked about this before previously on this channel because I'm going to say right now, all right, I do not have any hatred for Big Red Nation. And saying the word hate, that's really a tough word for me to say because I even tell my children that's such a strong word to use. But there is some hatred among these fan bases. Maybe not, the vast majority, but there definitely has been a growing contempt for each other. And me, I'm an old boy. I'm 44 years old. All right. So to me, I grew up in the time that Iowa's biggest rival was Wisconsin. So I think if you're 35 to 55 years old, you're kind of with me. That Wisconsin is, to me, Iowa's biggest Big Ten rival. If you're an older boy, 55 or older, you're probably thinking, hey, it's all about Minnesota and the fight for the Divine Swine, the Floyd of Rosedale trophy. But I think if you're the new generation, 35 or younger, you kind of grew up with this budding rivalry of Iowa and Nebraska, which was created when Nebraska joined the Big Ten in 2010. I mean, it makes sense. You have to be given a rival, somebody that you can lock horns with each and every year. And that's the one thing that really still gets to me is we did not ask for this rivalry. Iowa and Nebraska, we didn't, but it makes sense being border states. But to me, this is not a rivalry game. And here's why. These stats, these records don't lie. And once again, I am not throwing any shade on the Nebraska program or its fans. I mean, you'd be so hard pressed to find a more passionate, loyal and knowledgeable fan base overall in the entire nation. All right. Nebraska fans are great. Definitely a historic program. But Iowa now has won 10 of the last 11 games in this matchup, and they've won 11 out of the 15 since Nebraska joined the Big Ten Conference. So this has been so one-sided. I mean, do you have to win every other year to make this a legit rivalry? You don't, but you probably need to win at least every third year, and Nebraska is not doing that. And I think that's kind of fueling some of this negativity and how much they really despise Hawkeye fans. And I understand that. I understand why. I mean, it's the same thing to why so many of us were tired of the New England Patriots when they were dominating the NFL, or the New York Yankees, or even in our sport when Alabama was top-notch, basically every other year winning a national championship. It's because you despise what you want, because we're jealous of that. And I really think there is a lot of jealousy for Nebraska fans when it comes down to the Iowa program. And that's just my hypothesis. But I've said before that, yes, Nebraska is a historic program. They have a great history. I mean, much better history than Iowa. You can't even compare the two. I mean, Iowa has a decent history, much better than a lot of fellow Power Four conference teams, but Nebraska's up here. But to me, Nebraska is no longer a blue blood program. You're not. And I keep saying, I scratch my head and I look at it from the outside, that I think most Husker fans, you guys just can't seem to get out of your own way. Your expectations year in and year out are never realistic. It's basically saying college football playoff, Big Ten title or Big Ten title game appearance or bust. That's just not going to happen. You are not the Tom Osborne teams of the Golden Age. You are not. And I don't know what to tell you. I'm not trying to, force you into a long drawn out depression or a winter slumber. Okay, I'm not. But that is just the truth of it. Okay? And here, Matt Rule, I think, is the coach you guys need. Maybe not the coach you want, but what's going to happen here within 2 years, I'm calling it right now, you're going to run him out of town too. He's done. I mean, this was supposed to be their big turnaround year when he now still does have a losing record after 3 years at Nebraska. And we're already going into the offseason talking about, is he on the hot seat next year? You're going to drive another coach away and then have to start back at square one. Doing this, you are never going to improve, all right? I just don't get it. There's nothing wrong with shooting for up here to have goals, but you have to slowly get to that point. And Nebraska, you guys you aren't doing yourselves a favor. You are suffocating your own program. And you are. You are not a blue blood program anymore. And I think what you need to start off with is, first of all, kind of be like Iowa. Hey, 7 to 9 wins every year in the regular season. That's a good starting point. That's consistent winning football. And some people might say, well, that's what's wrong with Hawkeye fans and the Hawkeye Nation, Hawkeye program, because you guys are more than happy with 8 wins a year. Well, as a fan, we always want more. I mean, I want to do better than that, but that's who we are. We are a developmental program, all right? Occasionally, we're going to have our 9, 10 win seasons, right? That's going to happen to us, but our expectations are realistic. And it seems like, to me, Nebraska and its fans, they are not realistic at all, okay? They're not. So just try to play consistent winning football. You have to start there first, okay? I mean, the old saying, you have to learn how to, crawl before you walk. Okay, well, it's kind of true, all right? I mean, I know some of you are getting so Some of you feel like it's blasphemy, like how dare he insult us like that by saying we're not a blue blood. Well, Minnesota has more national titles than you do, even within our own conference. But I don't see their fans saying, oh, well, we're a blue blood. Because, even though yes, their titles came before the modern era, but still, you can lose that title, all right, that blue blood membership, I guess. I mean, and you have, okay? You're holding on to the past, and you still think you are that team, and you're not, okay? So please do yourselves a favor, pump the brakes, and just realize, like sometimes what addicts say, you must have a moment of clarity and realize who you are and who you can be, not who you want to be and who you're not, okay? Yeah, this rivalry game, I mean, it is starting to kind of build with me as well, because I read a lot of the posts by both fans. There is some nastiness, but I think overall there is a lot of respect. But I feel like there's more shade, there's more hatred from Nebraska to Iowa fans than vice versa. But it's just, I don't get this. This is not a rivalry game. To me, it is not. It never has been. It never will be. I mean, as a fan, yeah, it's an important game, right? I mean, I love watching this game. It's basically like a Big Ten West game. I mean, this was a protected rivalry. I don't really know why the Big Ten did this, okay? If you were asking me if we had to basically do it over again, I have no problem playing Nebraska every year, even though it's basically come down to an ass-kicking every year, which it has been. Sorry, Nebraska fans, but hey, the first step, the first step to better it is, hey, you must be honest with yourself, right? I love Minnesota and Wisconsin. Those should be the two protected rivalries for Iowa. If you have to add a third, I mean, maybe you add Penn State. I mean, Penn State and Iowa have had some classic battles the last 2 decades. Or I'm an old school guy. I mean, I would love to rather have Nebraska. I'd rather have the other border team, Illinois, play Iowa every year. I mean, when I grew up, I'm 44, as I said. I've been a fan since I was 8 years old. I mean, when you talk the mid-'80s to late '90s, Iowa and Illinois was must-see TV. I mean, hell, at my grade school, the Friday before those games, we had Illinois-Iowa Day. I mean, I grew up in Northwest Illinois. I mean, it means a lot to me. But Nebraska, Iowa, it just doesn't do it for me. Sorry. Now, maybe it's because of where I grew up, and I've seen those comments too on this channel before, that, hey, there's a lot of issue between the fans in western Iowa and eastern Nebraska, and I can understand that as far as what your location is, the proximity to each other, and I've heard that goes back to even the Hayden Fry days, okay? But once again, I can't confirm or deny that because I don't know. But this is not a rivalry game. I mean, even though Nebraska does have the edge in the overall series, I believe it's 30 wins to 23 losses with 1 tie, but Iowa is very quickly catching up, all right? And I know some of you might say, 7 to 9 wins a year, that's great. Well, I just saw a stat that Iowa has now won 8 games or more for the last 10 years straight. That's consistency. And they're one of 4 teams in the FBS Power Conference teams to do that. And the other ones are probably teams you've heard of. Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, and Iowa. That's how you eventually get to that level. You have to build your foundation, not just simply jump there, okay? So Nebraska fans, I want to hear from you. I just want to know where you are, because I've read a lot of the fan posts, the media about, hey, can Matt rule? We're not going anywhere. I want to see where you are, because it's hard for me to connect these dots. It just is, because to me this is just another typical year of Iowa taking care of business. And when you guys scored early in the first quarter, I was not concerned at all. I mean, I told the people I was watching it with, we've seen this same movie, this same film, time and time again. It's going to end the same way. Eventually, something's going to go wrong, and it's going to completely unravel very quickly for Nebraska on the field against Iowa. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, we know what's going to happen. We know how this ends. But we still watch because we're fans and we're loyal and we love it. But, well, that's really all I'm going to say. It's been, 25 minutes. I'm kind of rambling on now. But overall, really solid game. And I'm sorry that it took me a few extra days to get this up. Really, it caps a good season for Iowa. I'm not going to say too much. I am going to have my Iowa Hawkeye season review probably next week after we all know what their bowl destination is and who they're going to be matched up with. But it really does put icing on the cake that this was a good Hawkeye team. Not great. They had their opportunities, but to be great, you've got to win some of those games, but definitely a good team and a good season. Typical Iowa season. That's what we just had. But anyway, I should be back either tomorrow night or early Wednesday. I definitely want to get my reaction to the updated college football playoff rankings following rivalry week there in week 14. I don't really expect a lot of shakeup, but I just want to see how this sets up for a conference championship weekend and then ultimately for Selection Sunday, to where we find out who the 12 participants are in this year's playoff. And then we find out where your team of fandom is going to be heading for the postseason when all those bowl matchups are released. So until then, please, once again, light up that comment section, get involved, exercise your college football voice, your opinion. And I thank you for your time, your attention, and everything that you have done or will continue to do for the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. Please like, share, rate, comment, subscribe. And until next time, enjoy the rest of your work week, your school week, and I'll see you soon on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. And as always, go Hawks. Bye-bye.